Let's go. Good morning, my friends. It's your old pal PeaceLoveMusic with another episode of the Let's Go Good Morning Show, brought to you live by DeOrganized Media in partnership with our good friends at BitcoinLive, Decentralized Broadcasting. It is Friday, the 17th of January, the end of the week. And what a week it's been. What a couple of weeks it's been. Great stuff going on in our space. Lots of decent activity all across the board. Bitcoin's looking good. Stacks looking good. Crypto's looking good. Government activity seems to be trending positively, at least on its face. And good things happening. Peace in the world, maybe. Hope so. We got a great day. It's a great day. We've got a lot going on today. Got a lot going on just in general in the space. And thank you all for tuning in. And please do share out the space. I don't ask that often enough, but it really is a tremendous help. If you are watching and you enjoy the show, please share out the space and let your friends know that we got some interesting content over here. I got something going on with this shirt's been on a hanger in the back of my closet for so long. I'm so cold out. I've been using up all my thermals, and it's too cold for me to not have a thermal on. But I didn't realize that I just put this on pre-show because I was wearing a different one out for our morning walk. It's like below 20 degrees out, real cold. So apologize for my distracting shoulders. It's probably distracting me more than you. Friendly reminder, this is a news show. We are news and information only. We are not financial advisors. We are not providing financial advice. Always do your own research and never invest money you cannot afford to lose. That being said, the numbers are in as of a little while ago, and they look good. Bitcoin coming in at 102,906 as of a few minutes ago, and it was trending up, so we might even be up over 103 right now. I don't know. Stacks pushing up to 166. Moving up to the reclaiming number 51 by market cap on CoinMarketCap, trending upwards. Fair and Greed ticked down from 60 to 57, which is an interesting dynamic because the market seems very bullish. So, not quite sure why that reading adjusted or what's involved in that, but it's curious to me. Seems counter trend, or counter to the activity, but who knows? Maybe the Fair and Greed Index knows all. Who knows what's going to happen over the weekend? Top three gainers for the last 24 hours on CoinMarketCap are SPX, Go Staxy, OKB, and Fartcoin. Off my lawn, the champion edger in the world championship edger. A big fan of Fartcoin. Friendly reminder, friends, when you stack your stacks, you earn yield in Bitcoin. It's the best deal going around in crypto. You're building on Bitcoin. You're supporting builders who are building on Bitcoin. It's secured by the Bitcoin blockchain. It's adding functionality to Bitcoin L2 stacks. And when you hold your stacks and you stack them to help secure the network as part of the proof of transfer mechanism that secures the stacks network and ties it to Bitcoin, you actually earn Bitcoin while helping secure the stacks network. It's great. So if you didn't know, check them out. It's really just an amazing paradigm in our ecosystem. Stacks calendar for the day. We have, as always, Monday through Friday, we have the Good Morning Show. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, and we're starting to evolve it. I think it'll have a little bit of a different format shift as we maybe incorporate some of the shows we've been running into segments on a longer running piece every morning. So stay tuned for that. Weekly sip call coming up at 11 a.m. That's every week with Hero Gamer and the Stacks Foundation, talking about Stacks improvement proposals and innovation and what we can do to inform the community about what's being developed, and then take any feedback from the community about what they'd like to see developed and any ideas that they have, or just talking about growing the ecosystem and supporting and building out in stacks. That's at 11 a.m. today. There's a bunch of other shows that are regularly happening. I'm not sure of all of them or the times. I know Landy has a show. I think it's at 1 today. Definitely check out Landy. I believe if they're still doing it, Freddie at Stacks Africa is doing a 2 p.m. show. Sam with Stacks Nigeria is doing a 3 p.m. show, and Dan and Brad always have Purple Pill Friday on at 5 p.m. Great vibe there. So go check them out. It's not showing on the calendar. And we are also building out the calendar over at DeOrganized Media, deorganized.media. If you have a regular spaces or you're looking to do a show or you want to do a regular space, head over to deorganized.media. You just set up your account. You first sign in, you just connect your wallet. You basically just connect like a signature to prove that you are the owner of the wallet and associates an account on our website with your wallet address. You don't have to give any other personal information. You can actually remain anonymous, or you can set up a username, or you can set up a new username and remain anonymous, or you can connect other apps and stuff there. But right now we have our show scheduler, and it's doesn't have to be a show on DeOrganized or that we're hosting or anything. You can set up your account, go put your show on the calendar, and then we can keep track of it and let people know as part of our daily updates, let people know what's going on. So if you want to get a little bit of promotion for your events, spaces, live streams, whatever, go over to DeOrganized Media and we can help you with that. Happy to help you do that. And the news for the day: Coinbase Premium turns positive as U.S. investors reignite buying interest ahead of Trump's inauguration. That means what you're paying for Bitcoin on Coinbase is a little bit higher than the market price because it's trending up. That's a reversal from where things had been. That's why it's newsworthy. The royal government of Bhutan moves 255.26 Bitcoin to unknown wallets. They still hold 11,433 BTC, valued at $1.16 billion. Who knows why they're moving it to those wallets? That doesn't mean they're selling. It could just be kind of organizing who gets these funds and what they can use them for. Bitcoin miner Mara, M-A-R-A, that's Marathon Digital, commemorates President Trump's upcoming inaugurations by embedding his portrait in a BTC block. Funny stuff. This is less funny. Pump Fund Corporation sued in New York court for alleged pump and dump schemes, poor KYC, AML, know your customer, protections, and marketing to minors. Oops. Listen, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And you just need to make sure you're not subjecting people to unnecessary risk and exploiting them in your processes. And it seems like Pump Fund may have gone too far with some of that stuff. I hope it works out for them. SEC General Counsel Megan Barbero, key advisor since 2023, to step down in 3 days. And that's also Gary's on his way out too. Great. Not Gary Reiger. We love you, Gary. We're all talking. We know I'm talking about Gary Gensler. Trump pledges to keep 100% of the Bitcoin the U.S. government holds, saying it will serve as the core of the strategic national stockpile. Will we see a strategic Bitcoin reserve in 3 days? Maybe. Maybe not in 3 days, but maybe. I mean, that would be really it's what we're all hoping to see. But if it doesn't happen, don't freak out. It could still be a thing. If you can hodl only one altcoin for the next 10 years, which would it be? Let me know. I'd love to hear. I know I'm not sure which one. If I had to pick one, which one I would go with, to be honest. There's a lot of them that I like. I don't want to pick one. I like to be diverse. But if you have one that you really think is the best altcoin, let us know in the chat. I'd love to hear what it is actually that you guys would want to hodl. Bitcoin has surged back over $2.03 trillion market cap getting closer to surpassing Amazon. Bitcoin is currently at 20357. That's at the price we were at going live. So that's adjusted since then. Maybe it's gone down. I don't know. But it's Amazon's at 2.34 billion, 348. So not too much farther for Bitcoin to be larger than Amazon. It's pretty significant. Tether CEO Paolo Ardoino says the company could consider more presence in the US, but is remaining cautious as it waits to see how the regulatory landscape changes under Trump's administration. And I mean, there's a lot we're taking for granted there, but it does seem as though it seems like things will go in the direction that would encourage them to actually do go into that. If you guys have not heard about what's going on over at aibtc.dev, you have to check it out. It's crazy what they're doing over there. They just launched a process for launching an AI DAO that is run and managed by AI agents. All you have to do is post on X at prompt to DAO, post on X, telling it the details of the DAO you want to initiate, and it does it for you with AI agents running your AI DAO. It's amazing. It launches a token, and I'm not sure where that happens yet. I did play around with it with the Fresh Dry Sock account a couple days ago, and it did something, but I'm not sure exactly what yet. And if you guys have more details on that, let me know. Bitflow recently announced Bitflow Keepers. That's an integration with AIBTC, I believe. Personalized smart contract automation for Bitcoin DeFi. Bitflow Keepers are services that simplify the painful parts of Bitcoin DeFi management. If you've been providing liquidity on Bitflow, head on over there, and if prompted, switching over requires 3 simple steps. So you'll be prompted if you need to do this when you go over to Bitflow. But if you haven't been over in a while and you've been providing liquidity, you should go over there and take care of this sooner than later. First, you claim your rewards. So you retrieve any accrued staking rewards. You unstake all of the LP tokens after you've claimed those rewards. And then early unstaking, as far as early unstaking in this process is available with no fees. So that's another reason why you want to take care of this sooner than later. And then you restake in the new keeper compatible contracts, and then that's how you continue earning your rewards. So you can't continue earning rewards, and you only have a limited time to unstake without fees in order to get through this process. So head over to Bitflow and check it out if you've been staking over there, especially, and or if you're just interested in learning more about providing liquidity on platforms like that and gaining some yield. Go ahead over to Bitflow and check that out. BNS1 has announced a number of platform enhancements for user interface, listing marketplace enhancements, and more. Head on over to BNS.1 to check it out. BNS names is a thing. It's becoming more of a thing as we talk. It's definitely if you don't have a BNS name, that's Bitcoin name service. If you don't have one, go get one. You can go over to BNS.1 to do that. Have you checked out Fact.Fun? There are several new tokens currently in the bonding curve now. Can you get to the sweet yams? The sweet yams. You got to get to them. Rent, Froggy, Munib, there's a bunch of them over there. So go check them out if you're into that sort of thing. A bunch of bonding curve tokens over there. And also Stack City. You can always go over to Stack City and play around with them there too. We love all of our community projects that offer these services. And yes, these are similar to Fact.Fun. I mean, similar to Pump.Fun token processes. So always beware, right, when you're engaging in those things, and don't buy into things from hype. If it's fun and you like the community that's around it, and the people that are building on it, that's one thing, or playing with it, and it's just memes and it's for fun. These aren't always good. There's risk in speculating these types of things too. That's all. I just wanted to make sure you guys know. I love both Rafa and the Fact.Fun guys, and I love Kwatwin and the Stack City stuff. And I play around on there, but I just don't want to see anyone take it all with a grain of salt. It's degen stuff. It's like you can lose money. You could lose everything. It can go to zero too. So, don't temper your expectations and act accordingly. Not financial advice. Gary Reiger's Gated.so is an alpha test. Gated is going to be a platform for artists and creators to launch their digital assets and control access to the content they create. Go set up your account now. It only costs 1 STX to be early on Gated. Are you looking to get started as a developer with Stacks? You can head over to stacks.co. Over at the top right-hand side, it says Get Started to access developer tools, learn the basics, build a full app, and even ways to get paid to build. Over at stacks.co, that's where you get started as a builder in Stacks. Are you interested in helping builders and devs test out their projects on Stacks? We're building a tester QA community. DM me at PeaceLoveMusic on X if you're interested in joining our QA tester community. Stacks Sip and Innovation community call every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. We want to get as many people out there as possible. If you're in Stacks, you should be coming to this space every week, 11 a.m. on Fridays if you can make it. Tune in. Even if you're at work, one earbud in your ear, listen in. If you can talk and you have any kind of questions or input or any suggestions, please take a mic. Come out and talk with us. That's 11 a.m. today and every Friday. And look for more from that. More information about the SIP process and stuff to come as well, I think. Find to Earn game with the Game Master Zenatron was a great hit yesterday. We had a lot of fun, tons of engagement, and I'm wondering, it was suggested that we should run it daily. Do you guys think we should run it daily? Would you like to see a daily Find to Earn game with Zenatron on the morning show at the same time every day as a segment versus just doing a show? Or we could do both. But let us know if you're interested. And Stacks Pay is now live, and a new SIP has been proposed based on the development by Boom Wallet's Dan Trevino and team. Read more about this new payment standard at stackspay.org. Head over to boom.money to get on the wait list for the pending launch of Boom Wallet. That is the news for the day, and I have some great guests today waiting in the wings to get to us. Just want to say hi to our friends in the chat. What's up, Wine Twits? How's it going, my friend? Good morning, nobody. How are you today? GP always keeping up the banter with the guests in the chat. I love it. Good morning, Gary. Fact.fun. That's right. Don't get wrecked. That's right. Love you guys. I love our community, and we are all doing it. And without further ado, I'm going to bring in our friends. GP, good morning. And the legend of Stacks Legends.
Good morning.
I hope his internet's okay. Jack, how are you today, man?
Running off a hotspot, man. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've found that actually that technology tends to work pretty good these days.
Yeah, better than my ISP. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, it is what it is. How bullish are you guys right now on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the most bullish you could possibly be in the history of bullishness. 1 being,
I'm gonna go Spinal Tap on you. I'm turning mine to 11.
it's one more than 10. It's huge. Yeah, I'm ready, man. Like all the news is just right. If you took just any single headline we're getting on a day-to-day basis surrounding Bitcoin or crypto or the U.S. government's attitude towards it or any of these things, just a few years ago, you'd see a 30, 40, 50% move on tokens all over the place, and now like we're just so ready. And it's, I think that people, have a lot of bear market PTSD in general, right? They just can't believe that it's actually going to happen. You have a lot of people who are new, who don't really understand the market dynamics to the extent that any of us understand them. but it just looks really, really good, man. I mean, we're no longer on the government enemy number one industry to destroy. You've got a president that's like, look, man, I want crypto made in the USA, so I'm going to incentivize not just builders to build in the USA, but I'm going to incentivize people in the USA to own and hold and use United States crypto assets. So what does that ultimately look like? It could be massive. It could be absolutely massive. It's huge for Stacks, you know, American company. People on the timeline like, stay Stacks, you know, people listen their bags. It's not going to matter if they write a law, if they write a regulation where they're like, hey man, like US made crypto has got these benefits, we're going to get the benefits, you know, get your panties out of a bunch. We're good. This is awesome.
Yeah, there's so much going on, and to be honest with you, while we've already been in, like, a lot of this bullishness has already been, it's just unrealized. We had a long time where we've known this bullishness was here, but like we talked about, it's the longest period from election to inauguration ever. It's just so slow getting there, but now this is it. We got a weekend to go.
Look, it's the last time I'm going to say this because I'm turning over a new leaf, right? I'm turning over a new leaf. This is my New Year's resolution. I'm going to be, I'm going to, no, that's all bullshit. I'm too old. I'm set in my ways. The neuroplasticity is not what it used to be. But look, for people who are like, Kamala Harris is going to be good for crypto, not really. Like this is like at the core of the matter, man. Like we need this, and I think that the economy, people are like, why aren't coins pumping? Why aren't bags pumping? Dude, retail is wrecked. Dude, retail's wrecked. Like seriously,
right. People
like
are broke.
The bull case,
people are broke.
The bull case for crypto and Bitcoin is for anybody who's had it for these past 4 years and been like, oh yeah, all of my buying power didn't vanish overnight, right? Like I'm not completely broke and just watching, dude. That's just for giggles. The other day, I looked up, if you made $45,000 a year in 1998, what's the equivalent in today's money? Be 87,000. Right, 87,000 a year.
It's not catching up.
No, not close. Right, so it's going in the complete opposite direction. So, and you look at this miasma, which at the very root of it, central banking and fiat money. People don't know that yet. They're learning at a rapid pace, but there's a lot of catching up to do. But the point is that it is a priority. Because I think that you have some very smart people around the president and this administration that are like, hey, we can actually solve some of our problems. You know, we've got spending problems in the government. We've got a team for that. But this might actually help the underlying economy quite a bit. And it should, because this has always been the California gold rush. That's what crypto is. It's been the California gold rush since day one. And people just haven't learned. And now we're at a place where we don't have just an entire group of vested special interests just trying to kill crypto in the crib. So super bullish. Cannot just absolutely just off the walls bullish.
If you have disposable income, this is actually for any inflationary environment. And part of the reason why the prices have gone up is because inflation was a little hot this week. That's one of the issues. So if inflation's hot, so they're expecting more rate cuts, and more rate cuts means cheaper money. So, and they telegraphed more rate cuts, and so cheaper money means risk on. It's a better risk on environment. So it's bullish for asset prices, but your dollars are going to keep going down in value. You're going to be able to buy less and less with them if inflation actually does in fact go up to the point where they need to, and they're cutting rates. If their inflation is going up and they're cutting rates, things are not going to be good.
No, No, I'd be if I was a no coiner, I'd be very, very worried. I'm not bullish on being a no coiner because the turbulence is going to be real. But now we have like a tool set at least to help combat this. And again, people will look back on this time in history and look at Bitcoiners and so forth and be like, wow, that's a group of people that did better during that horrible economic downturn. And they'll just be able to connect the dots. It takes it out the realm of abstract into real life when, you know, you're like, yeah, the value of my money did not deteriorate. In fact, it went up tremendously, right? So, I mean, just to put this in perspective, I had to get some dental work done. So, being the degen I am, I'm like, I pay for stuff with crypto. So I take an ordinal that I, you know, minted for $16 when Bitcoin was worth around 20 grand and got, you know, $600 for it, pay for my dental work. If that $600, if that $16 would have done me any good, right, towards this, and it would have been worth even less since that was in what, like 2023, 2022, I can't remember. Right. But anyway, like
it would be worth less now.
Yeah. So like people don't understand because no one's taught about money, no one's taught about taxes, no one's taught about inflation, all of these things. So they've had to learn the hard way.
No one's taught about those things, and they're also not taught to question anything.
No, of course not. No, you don't need people asking too many pesky questions, you know. But anyway, it looks great, man. Like I really do think we're in a good position here, and I couldn't be more bullish on stacks. Like, so you see, yesterday the other news was Coinbase is offering Bitcoin-backed loans, right?
I didn't have a chance to look at it much. I only briefly heard it talked about.
So it's like that's going to be a thing, right? And this is what we're talking about. This is like actual DeFi starting to shape up. And I think as we see regulations ease for banks and everything, you're going to start seeing these Bitcoin loans and everything become a thing. People are going to want to borrow against their Bitcoin.
Well, we even have it now with Zest and now Granite in our ecosystem.
And that's the thing. Like, do you want to go to a bank and do this? Or do you want to be in complete control and do this all on your own? And this is the first time that this exists for people. And so no matter what happens on the centralized side, the genie's out the
banks
bottom.
Are going to have to put everything on the blockchain to be verifiable, because otherwise, why would you go to them? You can't trust what they're doing in the background when I have alternatives that I don't have to trust.
Right. And this generation, okay, you've got, and it's a generational game. So I'm at the ass end of Gen X, right? So I've had the whole gambit from rotary phones in the house to first checking account to, you know, applying for credit cards from applications sent in the mail, all this nonsense. But like younger people, you know, they've been more digital their whole lives. And that generation, if they have a checking account, you know, it's just something they needed for some formality or whatever. It's going to be such an easy thing for them to go online and just do this. And then when you're talking about AI, that's going to make this so much easier, right? Like the learning curve with crypto is gone. People are going to be transacting via prompts and eventually transacting via past behavior that the AI knows, you know, you would do in this situation or want it to do on your behalf. Yeah, I don't see ultimately how, you know, banks actually will be very competitive going forward for younger generations. I think that the hardest people to orange pill that I've experienced are boomers. They just don't get it at all. So
They don't get it.
They might,
especially the ones that had early introductions to the advent of computers and how everything can just, all of the data can be lost. Like they remember a time when computers weren't all connected, so there weren't
right.
Backups weren't, and then what happens if someone just deletes it all in their head? Like they can't assimilate the new paradigm.
No. So I mean, you'll have TradFi do okay with them. You'll have TradFi do okay with some of your Gen X. But this is going to be an on-chain game, and then it's just a matter of, do you want to use centralized garbage or do you not? So another thing I saw this guy do a post on Base. He had some stupid .eth name. It was like intentionally inflammatory, right? I think the name was something like racist .eth or some stupid shit. But like, he couldn't get, he couldn't use his BNS on Base.
Oh, because
right?
it was banned
because of the name.
It was censored.
Right. So he was in a situation where like his funds were jacked up. So that's the point where people learn the difference between centralization and decentralization. People are like, oh, well, people don't care about centralization. They don't.
Gary says every .eth name is stupid. And we got the Digibyte party team out on today saying applying for credit cards in the mail seems unreal now. Yeah, that's true, man. True.
Yeah. It's so like people will learn the difference between centralized and decentralized, and that's the bull case for stacks. People also going to learn about a painful lesson about wrapped Bitcoin holding its peg. That's the beauty part of the stacks consensus mechanism and how SBTC works. So you can tell people these things, but until like they experience this for themselves, in most cases, they're not going to recognize why decentralization is important, why SBTC is the superior version of Bitcoin, in terms of programmability and being able to do more things with it. And now Stacks is here, literally leading the AI charge on Bitcoin, which is massive.
Stacks has everything.
Yeah,
it just needs to mature a little bit more. We're going through maturity pains right now, and it feels great, actually. I really think that all of the pushing and pulling over the last couple months is really actually cutting us. We're getting strong from it. Where the muscles are getting more defined.
Oh, dude, reality is reality. So last night I had to do a series of things. So I wanted to stake some Bob, some built on Bitcoin, right? That's a meme coin on Stacks. I'm really impressed with it. I like it a lot. And so, you know what? I'm going to stake it. They got a staking pool at Velar, staking pool at Bitflow. I said, I'm going to go stake. So I had to move funds from an Asigna vault to my wallet to the staking platform, create the liquidity tokens, put them in a farm. Dude, it was so easy. It was so easy and fast. Like, now that immediately made me think about like the first time I ever farmed on Stacks. That was probably, I would stake Alex. Really, that was the first time I'd ever done anything on Stacks like that. All my other staking was from ETH. So the first time I go to stake Alex, and it's like, oh yeah, your 10-minute blocks, your 20-minute blocks, your 30-minute blocks. Or then when I did, now Alex was single-sided. For a while, you had single-sided options, but then like Velar, when Velar was released, I immediately wanted to start getting Velar rewards, because when Velar launched, like at first the APY for like the first day or two was like thousands, right? So I'm like, as soon as I can, I'm like, dude, I'm staking Velar, and it took like an hour.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
like,
And that was only like not a year ago. That was not a year ago.
No, exactly. So you're going like March, mid March or so of last year, and so to be able to do that in minutes, it shows like very viscerally the growth that has happened in a short period of time, right? And so yeah, it's like, you know, stacks hit puberty, man. Like, puberty sucks, but it also it's a time to learn and grow, and that's what's happened, and it's everything looks just amazing at the moment.
It does. We actually have coming on to join us right now is our good friend Blockface, aka Attract Funding. We know him as Michael. Michael, good morning. How are you today, sir?
Hello. Can you hear me okay? How's that?
Yes, sir. Hear
Hey,
you.
Jack.
Sounds good.
Your
Morning, man.
Morning, dude.
I thought you
It
were
does.
gonna be,
It does.
Coming answers this minute.
Dude, they had that whole procedure
Really,
dialed in, man. It was from a healthcare perspective, because I had a career in
I didn't know
healthcare, and like just watching how they did it. So it's like a business model that only does one thing. They only do root canals, right? So you get the referral, you go there, and they're immediately like, here's your you know, you always got your info, you gotta fill out. They give you an iPad, you start, they're hitting you with your 3D, you know, x-rays just real quick in the chair. Doctor's in there, he's like, let's determine this, like in and out in an hour and a half. You know, made the recovery super quick, easy, amazing.
Sounds like
like
an oil change for your mouth,
but that
kind of thing. Like you go up there,
pretty
they
much
elevate your face.
and that's what you want though in healthcare. Like,
Mr.
you
Loop.
want the efficiency, and you want the technology. You know, like, okay, so the surgery went from like these big open things where you get cut open, and then it goes to laparoscopic, right? And now like we're on the verge of being able to do almost like microscopic, you know, robot guided, you know, surgeries that have far more precision than a human master surgeon could ever have in terms of dexterity.
Better than a human
like,
surgeon? How dare you? You know that we have surgeons in the audience? Are you telling them that they too can be addressed like customer service bots, just with more money?
Oh, dude, healthcare is going to be rocked by AI very hard. You know, in terms of like industry, like that, we could have a whole conversation about that.
Imagine all the people on a waiting list for a root canal. You know what I mean? It's not yet like you have to have the robot to do everything, but you know, 10 years ago when I started recruiting, one of the clients at the firm I was at was it was like I think it was Stryker or Draeger, one of them. They were doing like robotic knee surgery. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Because
no, I've never seen it personally.
Right? Knee
but
surgery is one of the most painful things anyone can ever go through, right?
Yep.
And so they were working on knee surgery 10 years ago, right? God knows kind of what they're doing now.
Where it's at today. No, the same thing. like they have the Da Vinci robot that, you know, is so much more precise. Like but that's the thing, from diagnosing to treatment to the whole gambit can be completely reformed and completely made more efficient and better, and that leads to better outcomes, right? Which is what you want in healthcare, right? Well, it's where you want anywhere, but especially
right now,
healthcare.
I'm telling the team I want us to get an Apple Watch so we can start doing some work with the data side and the analytics and like predictive health, because most health is like post-dictive or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know what the word is. I'm supposed to. But yeah, predictive, right? Be like, hey, how you feeling? We noticed that there's a spike in something. You all right? Want to go for a walk?
Right, and that's
go for a walk.
That's what you need, because in America, Now, I can't speak to Canadian healthcare other than the fact that I've taken care of people in America who like were Canadian, who were like, I have cancer, bro. I can't wait.
Yes, you don't want to be
Like,
on a
you
waiting
know,
list when you have a short runway.
right. So, but in America, the bulk of the expense in the America healthcare system, aside from just general fraud and waste, of which there's a lot, it comes from um just really humans are human. You can't take the human part out the equation, right? If someone has pre-diabetes and the doctor's like,
Hey, that feels like a
hey,
personal attack.
walk,
Sorry, go.
right? Walk, stop eating carbs, take this
It's so
and
good.
take this
Sorry.
medicine.
Better to be
And
pre-diabetic than diabetic.
Post-dictation. Right.
right. And like, so people just don't comply. And that goes from that runs the gambit from pre-diabetes to now your kidneys are shut down
To renal
and you're on
failure.
dialysis. And now you have a super restrictive diet. And that's very hard to follow. And people are like finishing up their dialysis treatment, going to get their Popeyes and just going to town. Like, no. Like, so a lot of it.
So what I want to bring up with Michael doing his AI segment, and we haven't talked more about the Stacks Invader AI agents. I'd love to get that conversation going.
But can we finish this conversation about somebody who is eating Popeyes with the machine on?
Popeye.
Dude, I
Sorry.
could go.
I have that image in my head.
I could make a show and strictly tell stories about
Please do.
stuff I've seen taking care of
Please do.
people. Yeah, that would be hilarious. But but yeah, man, if you can catch things first and address them before they get out of hand, you know, that's going to cut healthcare costs tremendously because most healthcare costs,
Preventative.
most healthcare costs
Preventative maintenance.
it's metabolic in nature, right? It all starts metabolic, and it, you know, like diabetes itself is very insidious because you don't feel bad until you feel bad, and when you feel bad, there's a lot of damage
Really
been done.
feel bad, yeah.
Right. So you have to like nip that stuff in the bud.
Digitbyte Party Team actually brings up an interesting point, and you know the American healthcare system is for profit only. So if there's no patients, there's no profits, and that is a negative incentive for the healthcare industry to actually keep like to hurt their own profits by making people well.
I will say
Right.
this: living in Canada, Thomas Sowell said there are no solutions. There are no there are no solutions, only trade-offs. And so kind of
Right.
Jack started with a lot of people not having the luxury of patience in Canada, having to go, you know, to the
Impatient
States.
patients.
Right.
Impatient.
Yes. Well, and because it's but that's the thing, you can't. So there has to be a profit model because otherwise you don't have a right to the labor of a doctor simply because they have the capacity to heal somebody.
Are you saying that the difference in Canada and America is that in Canada we are treated kind of equal before healthcare services, but if you turn the dial up on capitalism a bit, right, you get people who have the option to pay for a premium service on their doctor GPT and get access to the latest models of root canal and knee surgery.
You know, and a lot of it depends on, and it's true. Like in healthcare specifically, you have, and you see it especially if you work in like smaller institutions. And I've worked a gambit. You know, you have the need for profit versus the need for what's right for the patient, and that is a constant battle, even in this capitalistic system. And that all goes back to like essentially what are CMS regulations. With CMS, Center for Medicare Services, they pretty much make all the rules for healthcare, all the private insurance, everything flows from CMS, right? They're the tip of the pyramid. So it's a lot of gaming the system. It's healthcare does not have to be unaffordable. It's not even close. It's a matter of a system that is extraordinarily broken, and
Right.
we have a lot of, as citizens in this country, we hold a lot of blame for that,
We
because
call it capitalism, but we don't actually have a capitalist model. It's an extractive model where um, everything is, the costs are inflated to extract profits that are unreasonable, and also regulatory prevents real competition. So there's no competition in the market to help drive down prices and offset the profiteering. They're just able to kind of keep squeezing and
Keep
and
talking.
not
I'm
squeezing.
going
just
to share my
that.
computer. I want to show you guys something. Keep talking.
So if I wake up and I have to go to work, but I feel sick, I'm going to go to a clinic to go see if I need antibiotics or whatever, right? You'd be surprised how many people will go to an ER for like a runny nose, or even like a work excuse. So when you take and you put that aspect of it in the mix, so now like a ER is a very expensive service. You know, you create overcrowding. You create a situation where hospitals lose all their money in ERs. So where do they have to make up money? Well, one of the good ways to make it up is in labor and delivery, right? So like you force a system to do this, but like if someone goes to the ER, you still have to dedicate resources into figuring out what's wrong with them.
Right.
Whereas,
Well, so one reaction the marketplace is having to that, and my wife works for a national health. She's in customer service for a national health care, a national health insurance company, and our health insurance plan under her employee, as an employee of this company, she just switched to one where we pay a hell of a lot of money if we go to an emergency room, but our urgent care visits are covered. So we've actually got these urgent care centers all over the place that are kind of like a mini emergency room, but it's also a place where you can go walk in if your doctor's not, you need to get a prescription for an antibiotic and you need to be checked out first or something like that, versus going to the emergency room and actually taxing those resources.
right?
So there is
So I
a
mean,
there.
we all play a part in a dysfunction, but the key is like if you unleash technology, if we decide to move at the speed of technology, when someone goes into a ER, if they're immediately triaged rapidly via an iPad or whatever, based on AI driven diagnostics, things like that move the needle, right? And then like getting rid of a lot of useless regulations, all of these
Right.
different things will play a part. But
Well, and then who has a right to the labor of an AI run robot surgeon? That becomes less. That becomes less of a. Now maybe everyone should have access to those things, right? It's not, you're not actually taking the labor of an individual person and kind of restricting what they can do with that labor and saying they have to do it this way, because we're, like Michael said too, you could have an AI doctor that maybe has some premium services, or an AI doctor advisor, I guess at that point, right? Medical advisor. They're not going to call it a doctor, right? Um, but those services, those premium services should be premium, not necessarily like necessary life-saving services. That shouldn't be a premium service in such a model, should it? Or should it? How do we
well,
do that?
it all
How do you
comes down
see
to this.
what somebody has to do with their machinery?
Remember this, and we've had this discussion before. If you want to move the needle worldwide for every human being on Earth, you have a system with hard money, cheap energy, and automation, and everything becomes more affordable. It's that simple. So the more, if we're working on the hard money piece now, right? Things are looking good on the hard money front. So if between that and if you take and add some more automation in the mix, more efficient technology, better technology, the cost of all these things goes down anyway. So, this is really at the root of so many of our problems is actually fiat currency. You can literally just draw a straight line to whatever is ailing society and find fiat at the very base of the problems that are causing, the symptoms.
Yeah, there's definitely, we have every reason to be optimistic. It's just a matter of how do you balance autonomy and consensual engagement with making sure everyone has what they need, and who decides what they need.
Right. Yeah, that's gonna.
Mike, what were you showing us? We didn't actually.
Oh, you didn't see it?
Well, I saw it, but you
Okay.
didn't give us any commentary on it. We talked over it.
No, it's okay. I wanted you guys to talk over it because I thought it was aligned with everything. I didn't want to interrupt. So that is the example of Stryker robotic knee surgery.
The knee surgery, yeah. It looked really interesting.
Yeah, it's nuts. I think there's a few companies. Another one is Draeger. A lot of these robotics companies sprout up around, Johns Hopkins, right, in Boston. Yeah. So there's like a cottage industry like right there, and you see like, they talk about like Moore's law and how things get smaller, cheaper, faster, stronger. Kanye West, right? And you think about all the people that are just on the sideline waiting for treatment. But you also, and I see this on happening on the nuclear side, it's also AI for the novel material synthesis. So they're calling this decentralized science. Have you seen that? DeSci?
Yep. That's a nascent narrative that's
nuts.
Going to pick up.
You combine those three things. What did you talk about? Hard money, automation,
cheap energy,
and then you add this DeSci piece, right? Because if AI can help us with anything, it is in folding proteins, probably.
Right. Right.
It's kind of hard to accelerate a PhD in biotech. That takes a few years.
Right.
Right. But that acceleration. I'll say the last piece and I'll stop. So this is all fourth industrial revolution. I knew a guy who was a PhD at Baylor College, and he said that the fifth industrial revolution is when we combine our ancient knowledge with fourth industrial technology. I'll just throw that out there.
That's a mind bender for sure. And that's a good thing, because the more things that become automated, you want to talk about ancient technology. If you take some time and you go put a seed in the ground and you nurture life that way, just in that one way, you learn so much about reality that you wouldn't otherwise learn. So I think that part of this is going to lead to a more of a premium on physical spaces and physical opportunities and physical, just kind of getting back to what it means to be a human in so many ways. So it's going to be, that's going to be an option, and it's going to be very neat to see how that option plays out. I think you'll have the ability to go online and be terminally online and live in your alternate reality and all of these different things. But I think that ultimately, if we can abstract away a lot of things that now we're dependent on the internet for, and the computers for, and our phones for, and you get back to what it means to be a human, I think that's interesting. I think that's probably in line with what, your friend has in mind to some degree.
I know Peace mentioned the invader stuff. I'm not sure how much you want to talk about that. Right?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I never know sometimes with projects if they don't want me to say anything, or if, you know what I mean. So
no, by all means, like we're super pumped about it. Um, I think that the ability to train an AI agent and have an AI agent that's unique to you, and then being able to like actually own it, and then if you want to sell it, you know, someone else can buy it. You've put yourself into that NFT, right? You've put a little bit of yourself, you've added more to it, you've you know, taken the whole entire collection and you've elevated it, right? So I mean, how is that not cool? Like, again, even with the mints we did early on with the customization, that was all about just putting a little more yourself into this thing, right? So it kind of changed the whole dynamics of what it means to own an NFT or be a part of, you know, a collection like that. And so the AI piece is going to be a lot of fun. You know, it's we have a team of Eliza devs that are cooking, and like the AI stuff, and you know this better than I do. The AI is moving so fast that it's hard to even say this is what the capabilities are going to be on release date, right? Because everything is just building at such a rapid pace.
Yeah, our recommendations have uh, an expiry date now.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true.
How long is that expiry date?
It's getting shorter, like a reverse Fibonacci series. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's how it feels. I feel
yeah,
like we're in the singularity right now. That's what it feels like, because every
yeah,
day I'm getting a random. You guys are probably getting these random calls too, huh? Have the random calls started for you? Be like,
yeah,
well, what are you calling me for? Really? Okay, we can do that then. You know, kind of thing.
yeah,
And so now that you spend so much time sometimes pushing an idea that when it starts pushing back on you, it's kind of surprising, but it's kind of what you always, you know, wished for. So um, a lot of people say like, or ask the question, where's it gonna go and what's it gonna do? I don't know. You think I
right.
know? I'm just a dude in Canada, you know? And even though I have the internet, like, talk about like trying to touch an elephant, right?
Yeah. No,
So,
it's
it's like all I can, you know what I realized the other day? If my clients want me to do good work with AI or whatever, I don't need to work on my clients or AI. I just need to work on myself. And if I improve myself, all this other stuff will follow. So, for example, that logic, all these logical expressions, I learned that not because anyone asked me to learn it, it's because I thought it could level me up, and it just happened to have some relevance. So, it's easy to get, I think, overwhelmed and feel that there's nothing you can do to keep up. In a lot of ways, there is not a lot you can do to completely keep up. You know what I mean? Because you're running a
right.
race against someone who doesn't get tired. Good luck with that.
You can
You,
the only one you can ever really compete with is yourself. You're just trying to improve yourself.
and if you've improved yourself, it's almost like improving is competing with your old self.
Exactly.
Somebody said that like, where you're going, you can't take all of you with you.
Yeah. Well, on a complete biological reality level, you know, and I think it's a 7 year time frame. Every
To
single
recycle.
cell in your body is different.
You know,
So you're literally not the same person you used to be anyway. And you can either work. That's again like, oh, and congratulations, Gigapeppy, on the leather ambassadorship, right? So the
Appreciate
so
uh,
like, oh, go ahead.
I just thought about this quote. I didn't want to lose it. I followed this guy because it was in his bio. Because we talk about how we can become a new person every day if we want to. But the guy's bio said, habit is the chain that binds a dog to its vomit?
Ooh,
And I
nice.
thought about that. Right? What are
Yeah.
my habits that are tying me to my vomit?
Right.
And how do I see those for what they are?
What is your
Yeah.
vomit though? It's just your waste.
That's just my. Dave makes fun of me for having mouth hallucinations. They make
No,
sense to
so
me.
like, no, it's true. Like that's your undesirable. That's what you want to separate yourself from. That's what you know, the things you recognize as being foul, and that's what makes that quote, you know, really good. Is that no, like you're doing that. You know, it's the conscious decisions that or unconscious decisions, and you talk about habits that you're making, right? No, that's profound.
I've learned
So-
about the black pill and red pill recently.
Say
And
that
you know,
again.
I just learned about what the black pill and red pill means.
Oh,
I
nice.
didn't even know what that meant. And as far as I understand, black pill is when you have an external locus of control, and red pill is when you choose to have an internal locus of control. Is that right?
Yeah, like that's that's getting at the root of it. Yeah.
Well, I thought this was all an analogy from the Matrix, right? The blue pill and the red pill. The red pill is you get shown the reality. The blue pill is you stay within your illusion.
I thought
That's
blue
the
pill was
analogy.
the midlife crisis. Or is that
Oh.
what the Matrix is about?
Midlife crisis.
Wait a minute.
Neo gets a Porsche. No,
And he gets a younger wife.
yeah. So like,
I
with
want to
that,
bounce out.
That's good.
Digibyte Party Team says something that's kind of interesting. I'd actually like to hear your guys' take on it. Neuralink seeks to catch humanity up with AI, but poses significant cybersecurity risks.
oh, 100%.
So, where are we with that? Do you think?
I know where I'm at with it. Like my experiment with being a cyborg is not going to go past this, right?
No.
Like this is as far as I'm going to take it. You know, I think that the technology can be very cool. I think it's of potentially good medical uses for it. You know, I think that's been demonstrated already. And you know, everything I look at in life, I look at through a lens of risk versus reward. Crypto did that to me. Like, you know, you might not understand it fundamentally, but basically that is how we go about life. Risk versus reward.
in a time series.
Right. Yeah. So like the risk reward, if you're like perfectly healthy and you just want to like be as smart as an AI or whatever, nah, that's too much risk, not enough reward.
Well, but what if it's an opportunity to continue your consciousness to be an aid to your progeny?
Well, now you're getting so metaphysical. So I'll hit you back with this. What if your consciousness isn't actually stored in your brain? What if your brain's more of the antenna?
Well, I think that is what it is. We're tuning it in. Right. So maybe we're just evolving a way to tune it in more. So are you trapped there? And is my consciousness limited to just my tuning it in, or?
I thought we were just an LLM on a model of a fungus.
Perhaps. I'll say this. Relative to fungus, is my experience with fungus is that it's you're communicating with something. You're communicating with something when you do that.
Oh, the portobello, you mean?
No.
Oh.
Psilocybin types.
Yeah.
Bluish.
Well, don't the classic human mistake is to assume that we know everything there is to know, and
How dare you.
and that's obviously not true.
What are you trying to imply?
But, you know, when you're sitting here and okay, again, going back to medical, you know, when people get organ transplants, you know, they can have aspects of their personality that change. You know, you can have like,
yes,
You could have someone who got a new kidney, and now they have like a insatiable love for cheeseburgers,
Or
and
speak with
then
an
like
Asian accent. Did you see that one?
right, like so, like this is real stuff. Like your consciousness, I tend to believe is just in your blood, right? I think that there's an importance there that we don't fully understand, but
This is terrifying.
So
I'm not putting any chips in my body that I don't have to,
so
like
the the, the idea is that in cybersecurity, if you want to have something secure, what do? There's some sort of air gap, right, between a system
yeah,
and the source. And so I think people are gonna have to decide how long they want an air gap for. And what we've seen with AI is if the AI is good enough, it makes you competitive. And it makes you competitive, you're almost compelled to use it in an evolutionary Red Queen's race. And so I imagine I might not want to break this air gap with a Neuralink type service now, but if there is a time where I find myself in a hospital and I'm gasping for breath, maybe, hallucinate me out
yeah,
of this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Right? So I see like it just depends on how much pain you're in. Because um, a lot of medicine is around pain management. Pain management,
facts.
like, we don't even talk about it as an industry, or maybe we do, but I'm not in those eyes wide shut meetings. But pain management is like an invisible thing, right? And
Yeah,
so I think a lot of people are worried about the cybersecurity issues. Like, what happens if people don't like me and I'm in a Tesla car and they take over the computer and now I'm Anne Heche? Just kidding. But, right? That's possible. You too could be the next Anne Heche, right? If someone sufficiently doesn't like you. And when it comes to personal security, the data is worth what someone's willing to pay for it. You know?
yeah.
One
Oh,
of the things with the
100%.
hospitals, I was talking to the CISO of Sick Kids Hospital, and he said the challenge with cybersecurity was not hacking, but the altering. So now it looks like you need dialysis, but you don't. But somebody hacked the radiology records, and all of a sudden you need major surgery, but you don't. So it was the tampering with records, not just. And cybersecurity is always going to be a Red Queen's race because you have to continuously evolve to survive because there's so much money to be made. You talk about degen finance, you should see degen cybersecurity.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's very true. I mean, you're sitting there in 5 years, you've got a house full of smart appliances, and you've got just so many different points of entry where things can get fucky. You know, so yeah,
The some of the vulnerabilities for these systems came from like the HVAC. So just think about like if you have this Apple Watch, an IoT device, an endpoint, right? That is talking to different devices. Now you have N points of attack. And what happens if you're using your Apple Watch to tell how your heart rate is? And now it starts changing the dials. Oh, by the way, that's what happened with Stuxnet. I think I've seen true professionals on that side, and you just want to stay on people's good side sometimes. Because they're like snipers that
yeah.
don't have to be
Oh,
in your
100%.
proximity.
100%.
Lots of, this went definitely went in a different direction than I was anticipating. Yeah, very interesting stuff.
Always is. That's
I really, so yeah, the
The technology is
singularity.
easy. The implications are hard. Does that make sense? So when we talk about stacks invaders and AI, God knows what's going to happen there. Even Jack doesn't know what's going to happen there, right? Because we wake up tomorrow,
right.
something new happens. I guess we're doing this now because we're riding a wave more than telling the winds and water what to do, I find. But to me, what has me pacing is not whether I can do the intention that we have, but what are the implications of what we do?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. If you step inside the machine, are you able to step out? And how vulnerable are you when you step inside there?
My buddy said, my cousin Kevin, he said, make sure you smoke the weed and not the weed smoke you. I think the same works with
Yeah.
LLMs.
Well, and if you want to get really scary with it, imagine our grandchildren's children, our great grandchildren in this world that we're building right now, how much more significant all of this technology is going to be in their lives at scale. How many people are going to know important things, like skills we have now, like being able to open up a chest and do open heart surgery, like being able to all of these different things. Like, so I mean, you can get really far with it. Like the ancient Greeks didn't even want people to write things down because they felt as though, oral tradition strengthened the brain and made people better thinkers.
Homer, yep. I can see
Right.
the argument for that.
And you can see that. You can see the truth of that now. Social media has destroyed my attention span, like
All of
completely.
us.
They do this in Islam where they have people memorize the Bible. There's a reason for that. There's and
Right.
It is culturally adaptive, wouldn't you say, for people to be devout in terms of keeping their tradition alive, no PDF.
Right. Yeah. So there's something there to where where this box is open, the genie has escaped. Just like I always say with Bitcoin, once it was released in the wild, really there was no stopping it. That's where we're at now. Like people are finally understanding en masse, really can't stop it. Right. So we're like, let's maximize this and let's decentralize the world. You have the same dynamic with AI. That genie is also straight out the bottle. And what does it look? Are we all going to look like? You remember that Pixar cartoon Wall-E, right? Where we're just having every need.
Yeah.
And completely useless.
Yeah. We're all sacks of blubber with no bones.
I had a Colombian developer tell me you can't block the sun with your finger. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
We don't even need people to agree with us anymore. You're not even trying to convince people. You're like, I don't know. Either you see it or you don't.
Right.
This train is moving with or without you. And now the doors are closing. And now you're going to yell at the train for moving? You can't yell at the train for moving. That train moves. And none of us are telling it how to conduct.
I think really the most important thing is building in the opt-in, opt-out structure.
That's the ultimate. I believe that there is more. It is a better go-to-market to allow people not to engage or engage on their own terms. I think that's a great go-to-market strategy rather than trying to hold them down and punish them for going elsewhere.
Well, it's that plus it's really also that's part of the safeguard. You need to be able to get out if you can go in, because otherwise you become trapped.
So you're saying if you want to engage in a significant decision, you want the ability to pull out even before you finish.
I want the yes.
That's typically how that works. I mean, how it should.
Right. Well, then
you want to be able to unstake your
assets. Consequences.
You want to be able to unstake your assets.
Pulling my liquidity. And then she gets alimony, and then you're like backdoor to the wallet. No, you have this private phrase.
You want to pick and choose which pools you enter into.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
You got my seed phrase. The seed phrase is compromised.
We're talking about
guys, young guys especially. Wide words from Jack Binswitch. Protect your seed.
He's been there. He's seen some things. He's not even old. That's just from seeing real danger.
Jack is 32 years old, actually. Look at what's happening.
You shall not pass.
That's what it feels like, man. Like that's why I'll never dye my hair, because like I earned this shit. Like
Yeah.
that's how I look
I should
at
probably
it.
dye mine. I need to get that Visine cream to make it super black, you know?
Yeah,
You should
man.
just Sharpie it on there, man.
Yeah, I'll do that
You
next
don't have to
time.
work.
No. Amazing. This is great. What time is it?
No, it's
I'm always
sleep. You
afraid
got
for Peace because we always like go overtime and then like he has like 8,000 other shows like coming up right next. He's like,
Well, it's
"Yeah,
not
we're
that
going to
much
the moon.
today.
We're
We
going
have
to
we have
Hannah
a
Song."
we have a little over an hour to go for the SIP call at 11 a.m.
Oh,
We'll
what's
be
that
in
about?
the SIP call at 11 with
Which-
Hero
which-
Gamer and the Stacks Foundation, where we go and every Friday at 11 a.m. we meet. It's a space hosted by Hero and the Stacks Foundation, and we talk about what's going on in the Stacks Improvement proposal world, what the current proposed SIPs that we're chatting about, and then we also there's an innovation call. We want the community to actually get involved and come up and chat about. Ask questions about the SIPs or what's developing, and if they have any suggestions or things that they'd like to see, there's an opportunity for them to come and chat with us about that as well.
I have a general idea for that. I'm just going to throw it out there. You've heard of XRP, right?
Yes,
Th-
gonna be
there are-
$10,000 soon.
There are certain features, attributes, and benefits that are on XRP that are not necessarily built into all blockchains. So, what I was thinking is that, you know, most of the ideas for stacks, SIPs, come from essentially bringing smart contracts and Solana speed to Bitcoin through stacks. And when I started looking at XRP, I started seeing trust lines. Trust lines making sure that only certain people you trust can interact with the wallet. And then I started thinking, if you looked at the delta between how Stacks operates and how XRP operates, all of those deltas could become SIPs en masse. Like
Back and
trust
forth, you mean?
lines.
You're seeing things that Stacks is doing that might work there, but also
Because
things that.
because you know me,
Why
I'm
don't you come in?
promiscuous. I
Why don't
talk
you
to
come and
everyone.
talk some of those details at 11 a.m.?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that's the beauty part of this decentralization, man.
Talk
That's
to
the
everyone.
beauty part of the SIPs. You know, you get your idea, you make your proposal, you community votes. Like, it's beautiful.
Well, and a lot of SIPs are also. So one thing people don't realize about the SIP, like the Stacks Pay SIP that Dan's proposed, is just a standardization for creating payment links on Stacks. So it's a way to just share payment requests. It's kind of like just adopting Lightning. That part of his what he's building out, and it's because what he's building out in his wallet kind of relies on some of that functionality. But the SIP proposal is to have it standardized by the community so that the other wallets can adopt this functionality and everyone's doing it the same way, so it's interoperable. It doesn't really require a vote. It's on
No,
because it's not
what
consensus.
he's talking about is potentially different level.
Right.
Yeah, when you're
SIPs
talking
don't
about,
necessarily require a vote unless it's actually consensus breaking as to what the current protocol is or how Stacks functions now. Like SIP 29 required a vote because it was adjusting the established emissions rate schedule. So that was a consensus breaking SIP. But SIPs do not require. So you can build out a protocol how you want it to be and then create a SIP. Same thing with Rosar's SIP for liquidity pools, like independent liquidity pools, decentralized liquidity pools, and there's actually a couple of different projects working on similar stuff. Rosar's SIP is really just kind of proposing a standardization of that process. So it doesn't actually require any kind of vote. So there's different types of SIPs.
Yeah, no, and it's a good process. And again, like it demonstrates the difference between, you know, a blockchain and a software company, right? Like this is it's important, and it's important that people understand, why it works and how it
Anyone
works.
can propose a SIP.
And
Anyone can propose
Yeah.
a SIP. And actually, sometimes that's also just a way to help kind of shape out and iron out what you're trying to do, too, is just put it out to the community and get people to work on it with you.
And here's another thing that I'm noticing. By the way, this is not related, but I'm noticing AI bots that will find posts and comment on them and so forth. Like, I think that there's a way, because AIs want novel thoughts, they want novel data, they want all of these different things. So I think there's a way for a whole new way for creators and content creators specifically to open up whole new lines of revenue that's going to be not human generated.
Machine to
Right.
machine telemetry, they used to call it, but now we have wallets to add to the machine to machine transactions. Maybe there's an exchange between your fridge and your Apple Watch. There's an economy to be had there too.
Right. So I think that's going to be really cool. That's what makes me so happy about seeing, what Tripp has made with, his easy, tipping system. I think you're going to see more of that. He was ahead of the curve on that, because honestly, I think that's going to be a big deal, especially now. The quality of the content you make, and I think we're going to see this. People were so worried about AI putting writers and artists out of business. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that good creators are going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Patronized by the machines. Like you're literally putting yourself in position.
In the audience, we might see a world where there's real life content creators monetizing AI audiences.
Basically, yeah. Because if you're putting out things out there that the AI don't already know, or putting thoughts together in a completely human way, that we're still able to do that. It's not going to beat us
The
on
AI
that
recognizes value in observing the content that's being created, so it supports the
It
creation.
doesn't necessarily parse the your PFP in making that decision too.
Right.
That's when it becomes really dangerous.
Well, that's what's so cool about AI trading. That's what I was telling the Rue guys in the Telegram last night. I'm like, look, guys, as you see AI trading start to take off more, they're not going to look at the same metrics that a person's influenced by, who's got a varying level of skill. I said, when AI see Rue on chain and sees like this crazy distribution and excellent tokenomics, that's like going to be very attractive for it. If it's programmed to look for best risk versus reward and things like that. So a lot of the things we see in this space, whether that is like the value of a KOL's opinion or work, that's going to become less, and the actual quality of what you're putting out there is going to be even more important. And I think that's going to be a very interesting dynamic to see play out as well.
They have a company called Unanimous AI. A Unanimous AI developed by Rosenberg is the best machine on the planet to predict NCAA, Oscars, you name it. Like, it's just a predictive machine. And what they found was that the AI and data did not perform as well as AI data and human beings. It turns out that we don't just need quantitative data to make good decisions. We also need this messy subjective qualitative data to fill out our understanding of the world. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So a lot of people are quantitative cells, right? They believe everything can be quantized. I understand that. When everything comes to you from a computer, it fits in your Excel spreadsheet real nice. But we forget that the Excel spreadsheet isn't the business. The business is the business. And so it's interesting that, yet it's almost like there are integrators. The syndicate is one of those things where we're helping people put together these things. We're not necessarily creating any one piece. We're helping them talk to each other. How do we get Lunar Crush to talk to the Jingdog Cash to talk, right? To onboard liquidity from Ethereum, Solana, and even be so agnostic that we don't care if you're coming in or going out. No Diddy. Does that make sense?
Right.
Enable. One of the developers said, I want to teach you logic so that we can help people give them back their free will. I don't know what that means, but I understand where he's going with that. That he says we need to build systems to give people back their free will. And I think that's a torch worth investigating.
So, okay. So this might be what he means. If we leave here and we go to YouTube and we see what's recommended for us, that's all algorithm content. You go to your For You page, all algorithmically generated,
Coke.
derived
That's
content.
Pepsi. That's
You know,
McDonald's. Actually, the algorithm, right? Because
you go to Netflix. So yeah, I think he's probably thinking along those lines, right?
I can see where he's going with it. With these local models, one of the dark things is, because we've been using all these different models like OpenAI and Ollama, and this llama and that alpaca, and not all language models are possessive of the same overton window. And that's what really shocked me when I started running these local models, that you don't realize the amount of political bias that's lobbied into OpenAI. Just kidding. I'm just joking.
No, and that's why AI needs to be decentralized. That's the case for that. That's been clear since
or else
day
it's
one.
going to become eloquently fucking useless
Well, useless to most of us.
and harmful at worst.
Right.
Because sometimes I ask it we've all had discussions where we know it's fucking pussyfooting around the idea. Just sorry to use the word, but you understand, right? You know when it doesn't want to say stuff, right?
Yeah, because it becomes dumb as shit.
Right? And maybe it doesn't want to deal with the implications of what it's about to say, right? It has, right? All of these systems have a system prompt that define the parameters that it's willing to go through. Right now, of course, we don't want AIs telling people how to, turn a bottle of Coke into a weapon, of course, right? But it's just interesting to see what happens.
Give it to a diabetic.
with a side of Popeyes.
Yeah, it's already poison, actually. Really is. Honestly, one of the first things people should do if they're even kind of close to being diabetic is stop drinking goddamn soda. It's so bad for you. It's carcinogenic.
Have you had Jarritos tamarind?
Oh my god. Yes.
Okay.
I can't.
But you understand the siren song of Jarritos.
Yes. We actually finally have some decent taco joints up this way. It's like real authentic, like good tacos. And they sell the Jarritos, and those are. I refrain from getting them, but I like the fruit punch. They're all good. There's so many. It's fun. They're colorful. It's like I'm a kid again. But don't drink it. It's bad for you.
Unless you want to sponsor us, Jarritos. That's right. Brought to you by Jarritos.
No.
We know it hurts us, but you wrote us a really large check, so we're just gonna go with it. Sorry,
I would honestly, I would reject that financing. I would not.
But Ted DiBiase though, piece. Everyone has a price.
Everyone...
That's Mexican cola. You're gonna turn down Mexican cola? I heard it's some. Never mind.
You heard some of the what? No, all right.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a great place to end on the Jarritos hate.
At the
hate love Jarritos. Or Jarritos. Great show, guys. I could talk to you guys forever. I wish I had more time, but at least we get to do this on a daily basis. Jack, when he's available, always welcome, but always consistent on the Fridays, brother. Love having you on here. You always bring some great vibes, great alpha. You're well connected to everything. And GP, thank you so much for just being the clutch Clutch co-host,
He's our
and
Vanna White. You don't know that?
what's that?
He's our Vanna White.
Nah, I wouldn't do that.
Maybe that's AJ.
I love you, GP. You're way too ugly to be Vanna White.
Started turning her.
That a show. Like, my goodness. Like,
Come
Oh,
on.
back in
when
the.
you're just like,
She's still
Trad
on.
White.
Is she still
know,
on the wheel?
I think she's Vanna
I don't
White
know.
now,
I don't know, but she's
It's
probably still a smoke
different
show.
white.
I mean, like, you're a
feel
little
like I
kid
saw
watching
her, like,
TV.
with
There's
the
another
flash.
word that rhymes with Vanna White, but we can't say it because it's not that late yet.
What?
Vanna White, but you start the last name with a T instead. Sorry, you asked.
Oh, like toit, like a tiger.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, that's it. I'm calling it.
We
Thank
should
you
have
guys
this
so
a
much for-
minute ago. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I love you guys so much. We are DeOrganized Media, coming at you live on Bitcoin Live, Decentralized Broadcasting, every day, Monday through Friday. Check us out. Get out to the SIP call at 11 a.m. We'll see you soon. Peace out.